Hello, Nick. Can
Yep.
we
Hello.
start?
Yeah, I'm good
Okay.
whenever.
Are you able to complete all the labs?
Yes.
Okay. No issues, right?
Nope.
Okay, fine. Okay, so this next lesson in this module, we're talking about the security or access control. So how the access control works in ServiceNow. Okay, so basically we have a multi-tier access control in ServiceNow. So first level of access is you have to successfully log in onto the system, right? So user authentication login happen at the user level, at the group level, at the role level. So when some user login, we talked about various method yesterday, right? LDAP, authentication, SAML, or local database. So user get authenticated at that level. He belongs to certain groups. So whatever permission we are giving to that group, he will be able to access that role. The role has permissions on the applications. So if you belong to that role, then you will be able to do that kind of functions in the ServiceNow. So that is the first level of authentication. Later on, second level of authentication happen at the user interface, means applications and module, right? On the left hand side in the application navigator, you are seeing a lot of things. Since we are logging as an just a minute, I just check whether I share the screen or I share only particular thing. Okay, so right now we are logging in here as a uh, system administrator. So that is the reason you are able to see so many things here, right? So these things. So if I remove it, you will see so many things here. Why it is? Because you are logging as a system administrator. If you log in as a normal user, you won't be able to see so many things here, because this access to the particular module and application and the module below that, it all depend on which user you belongs to, which user group you are belong to, what role you have, and depending on that the system will control which module or which application is accessible to you, right? So that is the second level of authentication. You can do it here. Okay, it is governed by roles. So this, as I said, applications, the access to the application is based on the role. So depend on which role you are belongs to, it will, the applications and module will be visible to you. Okay, so it, all the roles which you see here depends on what role you have, and depending on the role you will be able to see certain applications, certain modules. And the reason why I'm seeing all these things here, because I'm logging as a system administrator. So if you go to the user form and if you search any user, okay, let's do that. For example, if I uh, user, will log in as some different user, and I say how it is being different look and feel here. So this is the user. We'll find out some user who is having ITIL role. Is there any way we can see that? Abel tutor. Let's see what is the Abel tutor. What role he is having? Is there anything? No role. Uh, is there any way we can search for ITIL user role? No. Let's see if this is Abel tutor. Uh, give me a minute. We can give some password here. PASSWORD @123. I'll modify this. This is the active user. Is we have created some user yesterday. Let's do that. Discard. Anyway, but did you get this point? Like depending on the role you have, you will be able to see the different application here. Maybe I'll show you later. These applications and the module is visible to you, depends on what role you have. Okay, now once you enter into that application, there are various things there, right? tables and access, you can do that, table and row and fields access. So you can also control the access based on the table, means module. uh, in the table you can have control on the access on row. It means that if you have access to that table, it doesn't mean that you have access to all the row in that table. That is called as row level access. What does it mean? For example, if I log into the employee table, and I will be able to see only the employees record who are reporting to me. Okay, I will not able to see all the records on employee. If I log in as a system administrator, yes, I can see all the records of the employee, all employees record. But if I log in as some other user, then I will be able to see only the records of the employee who are reporting to me, means in some way. Okay, also, even though I'll see all the records which are reporting to me, the employees record who are reporting to me, not necessary I have access to all the fields in that table. Like for example, your employee table will have the table field called your salary, your bonus information, your health related informations, your family related information, right? Everything. But I don't want that every person should see all the information about the employee. Like for example, the salary related fields, the compensation, the basic salary, the incentive plan, right, the bonus information, that should be visible only to the account people, those who are in the account department. Then some medical related information, like is there any medical history of that employee? If there are some fields related to that, that should be visible only to the HR people, not to anybody else. Now there are some information about the skill of the employee, so that should be visible to the manager. So even if you have access to that table, doesn't mean you have access to all the row. And even if you have access to the row, does not mean that you have access to all the fields in that row. Okay, so you can control it in all that sections. Clear?
Yeah, that makes sense. Just basic access permissions.
Yes, and it is governed by the access control. So this, what is that access control? That is what we are going to cover in this lesson. So ServiceNow provides several level of security before the end user has capability to perform the CRUD. It means that he can create, read, update, delete operation on the table. So this you can also control this. Who can create the record, who can read the record, who can update the record, who can delete the record there. That also can be of these CRUD functions can also be controlled. Now, if you go to the security model, system security and security, is the application module admin used to advanced security options. For example, this is where you can set the security manager default behavior when there are no ACLs, access control layers. Okay. So in system property security, there are security control. One is at access control and at one it has high security control. So we'll talk about that. This ACL, access control, is a security rule defined and set at the row level access to the record, and the column level access means the row levels means the record level, and the column level means field level access to the field, and it is executed when attempting to access any ServiceNow table. So for every user, there is a row level access and there is a field level access. And when the user log in and try to access some ServiceNow table, it will go search what is the access control uh, security he has, and then accordingly it will allow the user to read the record and read the fields on that. So an access control list is a list of all access control for the tables. Okay, so so this access control list, uh, I will take you to the example. It is that will be more clear. So we'll see, this is the lab scenario which we'll be using. So I'll try to explain you with the help of this lab scenario. Now you have been asked to create the cloud dimension user group called Z Cloud user and associate this group with the new role called Z prototype reader. Okay, this is what we are going to create. We are creating one group, that is Z Cloud user, and we'll map this group to the role Z prototype reader. Now you grant this role access right to view the application handheld properties application. Now handheld property is an application and I'm granting a permission of this application to the role called Z prototype reader. Clear? Are you getting the mapping complete? Group
Yeah, I
Z,
think I understand.
yeah, group is a Z cloud user is a group which is mapped to the Z prototype reader role, and this role has a permission on handhold properties application. Then you add the rights to view the data in the module Z prototypes. So this role, once it is allocated, it is module Z prototype will give the access to this module called Z prototype. This the role does not have any ability to add the record to Z demo, and you add new user Z cloud users group called Zello users in order to test this security. So basically we'll be creating some basic data first. We are assigning the permission of Z handheld prototypes application to this role, and we'll also give the permissions to this particular module inside that uh, application. Okay, and then we'll create one user and see how it works. So first we'll go and create one, we'll start building from the most granular level. So user is the lowest level, granular at granularity, then group, then role, and then will once you create this group, role, and user, will grant the permission of application and module to this particular role. So let's start with the basic thing, like creating the user first. The use This is the detail of the user. I will create it right now in front of you. So uh, new users, zjoe dot user, zjoe dot user. What is first name? Zjoe. Last name is user. Password is you have to give password at the rate 123 p capital. Okay, and you can say zjoe at the rate cloudd.com. This is the password. I will save this. Click save button to enable this. Okay, you can use this save button. That is what. Fine. We have created one user now. Now next step is we'll create a group. We'll go scroll down. We'll create the group, create new. We'll create the new group. What is the name of the group? Z cloud user. Z cloud. Okay, sorry. This is the group name, group email ID. Okay, this is not mandatory. Okay, so that is why it is kept blank. Just name and submit. We don't want, you just created a user. Now let's create the group. Now if I say submit it, now what we have done, we have associated this Z Joe user with the group called Z cloud user. Clear up to this point?
Yes, that makes sense.
We create user, we create the group, we associate that group with that user. Now we'll go to the next step. Restrict access to the application Z prototype to the admin role. Restrict access to the application Z prototype. So this Z prototype application we already created yesterday, right?
Yep, I remember when we created that.
Yes. Now who will have access on this application? We'll say only admin role will have access to this particular application. So we'll go to the system definition application menu. SYSTM system definition and application menu. Okay, in application menu we'll find out the handhold property type. Application menu name handhold. By It's not showing handhold. I don't know whether I have created it or not. Let me see. Highlight. Can you search in your system on this application menu?
Yeah, I had to change it from name to for text, and then I found it. So like the search drop down,
Name to
I had to change it to for text, and then type in handheld prototype.
for text. Okay. Uh, no.
He spells it handhold. It's an E in there.
Handheld. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have created. I thought I have not created it. Now, this is the application which you will be able to see it in application navigator. Uh, so this is my handheld application menu. Let me open it. There is a role here, role button. Now here by default, when you create any application menu, there is a role get created with the same name, Z prototype underscore user. Okay. So whatever group you have created and assign it to this group is created, but this is the default behavior. So the group is automatically created with the uh, application name. Okay. And you can, this group member of this group will have access to this application menu. That is the default behavior of any system. Okay. So there is a role which is name u underscore z prototype underscore user. Okay. And this role has access to this particular application. Whenever you create uh, this is module z prototype and z demo, these are the two modules under this application. Okay. And there is a default role which is created along with the application, and by default system will give access to this application to this role. But what I want to do, I want to remove this and I want to give this access only to the admin role. Remove z prototype underscore role and add the admin role. So I will click here, I'll say admin, add it, and I will remove the permission from here. So what I did, whatever the default role which is created, that default role, I remove the access of that default role to this application and I added admin role. So any user who is having admin role will be able to access this application. Clear till this point?
Yeah, so you're just restricting access to administrators there.
Correct. Okay. By default, there was some role which was having access, but I don't want to give them the access. I will remove it and I will only admin role will be having access to this particular application. Done, save. We'll remove it. We're done. We just save it. So I have saved this application menu. Now, done. Is it save or not? What happened? Okay, fine. I think this record is saved. Let me save it once again so that I will make sure the changes has been saved. Okay. Now, do you know this impersonate functionality?
Yeah, that's when you just see what the other users would be able to see.
Yeah. So right now I'm logging as a system administrator, but temporarily I want to behave like some other user. So this is basically used for testing purpose. Otherwise, what you need to do, you have to log out from here and you have to log in with another user. If you want to test, like for administrator, everything will work. But for other user, whether it is working or not, that you, if you want to check that, you have to log in as that user and then check. So one method is you log out and log in as another user. But ServiceNow has a very good feature wherein you can impersonate that user. So you will be behave even if you log in as a system administrator. When I'm say impersonate user, I have to specify how I would like to act. So I would like to act as a ZZO user, which I have just created. ZJOE. Why there are two user here? Mm, is it one and the same? I think. Okay. Okay. So I will impersonate as a ZZO user. You should only see the self-service. Now, okay, where is that? Okay. So you log in as a ZZO user. Can you see here? You are seeing only self-service module,
Yes. Hmm.
nothing else. Why it is happening? Because earlier I logged in is as a system administrator. I have access to every application, every module in that. But now when I log in as a ZZO user, it is only self-service. So this is now a normal end user who can just raise a request, raise an incident, search the knowledge, search the service catalog. He can see the dashboard and he can see some incident and all that. He will not be, he will see my assets, my tag, my profile, but he will not be able to do anything else here. Correct? So I impersonate the user. Joe user has been denied access to the handheld prototype. Why it is access is denied to him? Because we have restricted the handheld prototype application only to the admin role. Correct?
Yep. That's what we did.
And to the Z demo and Z prototype module. So I have restrict the access to the application as well as the modules below that application. Next, provide the access to the application and module. But first we need to create the role to define which user can access the Z prototype application. Like, so what I will do now, I have to create one role. I have to give the permission to the role, give the permission to the handheld prototype application to that role. Okay. And then link that user with the group so that they will have access. So create Z prototype reader role and grant Z cloud user. So let's do that. For that, I have to again uh, end impersonate, right? Because I have to go back and log in as a system administrator. Now it is system administrator. Impersonate user administration role. So go to the user administration and under role you will create user admin role. We'll create new role called Z prototype reader, new Z prototype underscore reader, Z prototype underscore reader. Nothing else is required. Fine. I'll just say submit. So role is created. User administration and group. So I'll go to the group. What I will do, find and open the Z cloud user group. Z cloud user group. We just created it, right? A few minutes back.
Yes.
So open this record. I'm mapping this group to the role which we just have created. Go to the role tab, role, edit, reader, add, save. What we did here, what we did in this step,
What we did was we just created, well, what we're doing now is creating the new role and just
role we have already
adding that role
created.
to,
We have mapped the group to the role now.
now we're
Okay,
just mapping the group to the role, which is going to give the
correct.
role
So
to
Z,
CJO.
correct. So Z cloud user is a group. I have mapped that group to the role Z prototype reader. Clear?
Yep.
Okay. Now verification message display granted cloud user. This already done, I think. I have not seen that messages, but it is there. Okay. Now go to the next. Now again, system definition, application menu, system definition, application menu. Use any method to find handhold prototype. So handheld. Okay. Click the edit icon next to the role field. I'm opening this. Now it is admin. What I will do, I will give it to the Z prototype reader. We just Z prototype reader. I will add it here. Clear? What we did now?
Yep.
We, in addition to admin, I'm giving the access of this application to Z prototype reader also. Done. Save. Fine. Now let's test what we have done. Now let me show you something. My screen is shared now, right? Are you able to see the
Yes.
paint?
Yep.
What we did, we create one user first. Okay, it's very difficult to show you here. How I can show you? See, I have created one user first. Then I have created one group. Then I have created one role. Correct? First, for handheld prototype application, this is the application. I restrict the permission to admin. And now, just now what I did, I remove the permission, admin permission, and give it to the new role which we have created. Correct? This is what we did.
Yes.
Earlier, there was some role. We I remove it. I put admin. And now in addition to admin, the role which I have just created, I add this also. And I save it now. Now my new user, that Zjo, is already part of this role. Correct? Z prototype.
Yeah, because he's part of the group.
Correct. So now I will log in, or I will impersonate that user instead of login. So I'll say impersonate user, and it will be Zjo user. So earlier we used to see only self-service, correct? Now,
Yeah.
in addition to that, are you seeing the handheld properties here?
Yeah.
And here you will see the demo. Clear? This is
Yep.
how the permissions are being granted. This is create a read access right to the Z prototype table and Z prototype reader role. This I won't be able to. I think this is. Mm, okay, I think we clear up to this point. Let's go to the next. Uh, Impersonate system administrator. So come back to the. Why it's not coming? First, and impersonate. So I'll come back to the Z administrator. Then there is a concept called user menu and select elevate role is there or not. I'm not sure. Elevate roles. The following are the session specific privilege, session timeout or log off. Logout will remove all the elevated privileges. So system administrator has some role and privileges. Now I want to add some additional role to the system administrator, that is security admin. Okay, grant modification access to high security setting, allow user to modify the access control list. This is the what this role is doing. So I want this additional role to the system administrator user only for specific session, not permanently. Clear what is elevated role is? Temporarily,
Yep.
I am giving some additional role to this user. That is why it is saying the following are the session specific privileges. Session timeout or logout will remove all the elevated privileges. So temporarily, I am giving this elevated or extended permissions to this user so that he can modify that ACL. And you can see it here. Notice there is now an open padlock icon on the user menu. It means that this is the elevated role. Okay, this icon is saying that now you are working with the elevated role. This is not your permanent capabilities. When you log out, that elevated role will go away. Now let's go to the system security and access control. System security, under that access control. So this is access control, and here you will see all these things. Now here we'll find out the role which we have created, that is Z underscore U underscore Z prototype. Okay, sorry. U underscore Z proto, sorry, type. The first one is there, Z U underscore Z prototype new. Why there are so many? Okay. Now if you see here, Z prototype, this is the role. And there are 4 records for every role here. Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see that.
There are 4 records, and this record associated with the operation. One is create, another is delete, read, and write. So this user have access to create, delete, read, write everything, since there are 4 record here. Okay. And under require role, double click, sorry, find out. So we have created this. I will open this role. So prototype is there. I have to open this record, but let me open the read record here. Z prototype read record. So let me open this record. Then there is a role. Z prototype user role is associated with this, right? This is what we have opened. Z prototype role underscore user is a role. Now I want this, actually I don't want, I just want to update it. Z prototype user, it is, I want to add the new row here. This is already there. How I can add it is